April 14, 1395, Timur wins the Battle of the Terek River. But it wasn't just numbers. Toktamish had around 100,000 troops, but his army was disorganized and divided. Timur had 60,000 men, with highly mobile cavalry, strong supply lines, and precise tactics. Timur struck fast, flanking the enemy, and won a crushing victory. The Golden Horde never recovered militarily. Russian states began rising in power, and Timur secured his northern frontier. Now, he was ready for his next conquest. On April 15, 1450, the Battle of Formigny took place. This battle was a pivotal turning point in the Hundred Years' War. The English army stuck to its traditional and rigid tactics of infantry and longbowmen. Meanwhile, the French used cavalry and artillery tactics to pressure the English. The French blocked the English supply lines, and the English were gradually isolated due to low morale and lack of supplies. The French artillery pressed the front, and the cavalry struck at the weakened flanks and rear of the English. The English suffered greatly due to their lack of defense in the rear and on the flanks. The cavalry's attack caused chaos in the English forces, and the lines collapsed. Ultimately, the French broke through the English defenses and achieved victory. This victory shifted the course of the Hundred Years' War in favor of the French. Finally, the English withdrew from Normandy and lost their control. Afterwards, the French reclaimed more territories and drove the English out of France. April 16, 1746. The Moors of Culloden, Scotland. Here, Highland warriors drew their swords for the last time. They followed Bonnie Prince Charlie, hoping to restore the lost Stuart crown. But the British army, with trained troops and muskets, overwhelmed them. The battle lasted less than an hour. Thousands died. It wasn't just a military defeat. Tartan, Gaelic, and clan traditions were banned. The Battle of Culloden ended Scotland's last rebellion and a way of life. April 17, 1521. Martin Luther stands before the Diet of Worms. Here I stand. I can do no other. He refuses to recant, and is declared a heretic. An imperial edict follows. Anyone can kill him without consequence. But Luther vanishes, kidnapped in secret. Frederick of Saxony hides him in Wartburg Castle. Living under a fake name, Luther stays alive. There, he translates the New Testament into German. Now, common people can read the Bible for themselves. The Reformation spreads like wildfire. 2 years later, Luther returns to Wittenberg. He marries, reforms worship, and shapes Protestantism. He defied death, and changed history with conviction. April 18, 1689. In Northern Ireland, the small city of Derry stands defiant. King James II, a Catholic, had been overthrown, and now he wanted his throne back. He lands in Ireland with an army, and sets his sights on Protestant-held Derry. The citizens shut the gates and shout, "No surrender." A siege begins, over 100 days of isolation and hunger. Food runs out. People eat horse hides and rats to survive. But they never surrender. Finally, on July 28, British ships arrive. The siege is broken. Derry survives. Its resistance becomes a symbol for centuries to come. April 19, 1529, the city of Speyer in the Holy Roman Empire. Catholics tried to ban Lutheranism and bring back the Edict of Worms. But 6 princes and 14 cities stood up and protested. We have the right to choose our own faith. From that moment, the word protest was born. And so were the Protestants, supporters of religious reform. This was more than religion, it was a political stand. A demand for freedom, faith, and resistance against power. The Protestant name began with defiance, and never looked back. April 20, 1653, London. Oliver Cromwell storms into Parliament. In the name of God, this Parliament must end. He orders the soldiers to expel the members and remove the mace. But why? For years after executing the king and declaring a republic, Parliament was corrupt, and reforms had stalled. Disillusioned, Cromwell decides to rule himself. He soon becomes Lord Protector, a military dictator in all but name. England had no king, but faced religious repression and censorship. The revolution that dreamed of liberty turned into another dictatorship.